High Cost of a Trade War by David Dodwell. As the curtain falls on the first Trump presidency, it is timely to reflect on what has been achieved or not. And nothing could be more at the heart of U.S. President Donald Trump's mission to make America great again than an audit of the trade war on China. It is more than 2 years since his crassest, most significant, and mostly costly claim, trade wars are good and easy to win. The shocking naivety of that statement still makes me shudder, but having declared war, he has fought it, and continues to fight it, unflinching in his conviction that one way or another he will eventually succeed, and that the United States will have been made stronger in the process. Whether Trump wins another term in office or not, he can take comfort that his good fight will continue. His opponent in the presidential election, former Vice President Joe Biden, has given every indication that Trump's trade war on China will rage on. But how well served have the U.S. economy, American companies, and workers been by the tariff wars and by the efforts to roll back 7 decades of globalization and trade liberalization? A Trump loyalist would echo the U.S. President's clarion call from the podium 4 years ago. We cannot continue to allow China to rape our country. It's the greatest theft in the history of the world. The solution: when we are down $100 billion with a certain country and they get cute, don't trade anymore. We win big. It's easy. In short, the prevailing view is that past U.S. leaders should have acted much earlier, but better later than never. After over 2 years of escalating economic conflict, when many of Trump's acolytes will today concede that winning might not be as easy as initially thought, most would still say the trade war is good, necessary, and that in the long term, the U.S. will indeed win big. But the hard evidence of the past 27 months is less persuasive, as tariffs have been laid on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of China exports, with China retaliating in kind. The price paid by U.S. companies and consumers has been high, and many have long-term consequences. The U.S.-based trade partnership noted in his August report that U.S. goods exports had been rising steadily from October 2016 to the end of 2018, with a 12-month average rising from $120 billion to $130 billion, before falling back to around $120 billion a month. They reported that aerospace exports fell 49% in the year to July, with pharmaceutical down 15%. Interestingly, the sharpest export falls was to Japan, 26.3%, Mexico, 16.7%, and Canada, 10%. Only 2 export markets showed gains: Germany, 10.2%, and China, 3.9%. Unnoticed by Trump's acolytes because of their focus on good exports, has been a $20 billion decline in surface exports in the year up to July, with travel-related earnings down 76% and the services earning from China down by 43.5%. The U.S. Trade Lobby group Tariff Hurts the Hardline complained that U.S. exports impacted by tariff retaliation have fallen by 37% and have shown no signs of recovery even where tariffs have recently been lifted. As Ryan Hess and Abraham Denmark noted in August paper from the Brookings institutions, the U.S.-China trade war and Phase 1 trade deal have significantly hurt the American economy without solving the underlying economic concerns that the trade war was meant to resolve. Hess and Denmark asked if the economic costs paid were worth the billions of dollars lost in value, the hundreds of thousands of jobs lost, the stagnation of U.S. manufacturing, the devastating effects the trade war on American farmers. The Tax Foundation calculates that U.S. Treasury has gathered $80 billion since the tariff war started, one of the largest tax increases in decades, and would double this sum if threatened tariffs were acted upon. In September 2009, Moody's Analytics estimated that 300,000 jobs had been lost to the trade war. At the end of December, Bloomberg Economics estimated that the trade war would cost the U.S. economy around $316 billion by the end of 2020. A recent research report by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York and the Columbia University discovered that U.S. companies had seen their share values cut by $1.7 trillion US dollars because of the tariffs imposed on imports from China. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce recently noted that more than half of U.S. 50 states had suffered extremely significant damage from the tariff war. Simply put, tariffs are tax on American consumers and businesses. Tariffs are the wrong approach to address unfair trade practices. If this had been the price paid back for curbing China's exports, creating new jobs in the U.S., or forcing American and other countries' businesses to move out of China, then some would argue the pain had been worthwhile. But there is no evidence of such outcome. China's overall trade surplus remains robust, down from a peak of $594 billion US dollars in 2015 to a more modest $422 billion US dollars last year, according to Statista. Meanwhile, the U.S. trade deficit with China has remained stubbornly around $350 billion US dollars, and the U.S. overall trade deficit around $620 billion US dollars a year. Whatever the merits of concerns about China's trade and economic practices, Trump's trade war uselessly and expensively pointed the guns in the wrong direction. The trade war has been dreadful and has proven impossible to win. A strategic rethink is needed, but who will be able to provide it?